West Ham v Cardiff City, April 1979. In this video, we go back in time to April 1979, in the pre-Cardiff Soul Crew days, when 2000 Cardiff visited West Ham's Upton Park for the first time since 1971. Upton Park in the 1970s was not a place for the faint-hearted, as many visitors will confirm. And although Cardiff have a tough reputation at Ninian Park, they're about to find themselves a long way from home and in enemy territory. Let's get on with the stories. First, Cardiff fan Reese tells his story. I was a young Cardiff fan of 18 years of age. I had been to Cardiff home fixtures where we ruled mostly, and I was no stranger to football hooligans. Seen quite a few of the firms at Ninian Park. Cardiff had always done well against them, including Man United 1974. But I had heard bad things about going to certain venues, West Ham included. I know our previous history at Millwall in 77 and 78 where we got done big time, but we hadn't played West Ham since 1971, so I just had to go and experience it for myself. Easter bank holiday it was, I think. I went up on the old Adder Glass coaches with Mia Daniels' RIP Supporters Club. 800 Cardiff went, nearly all lads, on the coach trip up. Everyone was already fearing the worst, and they were right. The Barry mob was with us, so I thought we might be okay. Little did I know. Our coach was first to arrive, and the coppers said, "Is this all of you?" When we told him there were another 8 coaches, he shook his head and said, "Oh no, we'll be busy today." No West Ham at the coach park, but walked about half a mile and got by the Boleyn pub, when out of nowhere we got attacked with bottles and bricks. The 5 coppers escorting us legged it and just left us to it. People were going down left, right and centre. Then they attacked en masse and split us up. Most ran. A few hardy souls tried to battle back but were beaten senseless. Luckily, I was wearing a green flight jacket and managed to blend in with the Cockneys. At one point, I was chasing my own fans down the road pretending to be West Ham, but then I saw the ground away fans entrance and managed to veer towards that instead. Once inside, I realized their South Bank for away fans meant hardly any segregation, as there was West Ham in the Cardiff section, waiting for Cardiff who were yet to arrive. I went back to the bar area beneath the stand, but West Ham were also there just waiting for Cardiff. When the other Cardiff fans arrived, they were also in a panic, as what had happened to us earlier had obviously happened to them. They congregated inside the entrance, so I joined with them and we headed into the stand. We were immediately attacked by West Ham, who were supposed to be in their own section of the South Bank. The police managed to restore order and held them back for the rest of the first half. Didn't know whether to cheer when Ray Bishop equalised, because I knew it would kick off again. At half-time we got attacked by West Ham on the other side of a small brick wall behind the goal we were, and then a mob of West Ham attacked us from the chicken run on the side. They jumped over and ran straight into us, grown men, and we were mostly kids. Even the police ran at one stage. After they'd given us a good mulling, the police restored order. At the end of the game they attacked us again, and even walked out with us, chased us to our coaches, and even got on the coaches to give us a battering. Then 2 miles down the road, they ambushed the coaches by a park. Cardiff finally had to go back, as we well outnumbered them here. Eventually every window of all the coaches were put in by them. I went back there the next year. Only 200 went, and most of us left half-time, 3rd year in the night match. I went and we took 25 fans. We still got battered. I'm not sure which ground was worse that year, Upton Park, the Den. It's hard to believe nowadays, I know, but this was the reality of following Cardiff in the 70s. As you know, the Soul Crew wasn't formed till 1982. Once that happened, Cardiff became the powerful force we know today, but following Cardiff away from home in the 70s was a nightmare. West Ham ICF member Liam told us. I remember Cardiff's first visit to Upton Park in the late 70s. We had been relegated the season before, and so this was our first season in the old Division 2, now the Championship. We'd already played Millwall and Newcastle, who brought loads to the park, but only Sheffield, Sunderland and Stoke brought any fans, and mostly scarfers. So it was with great excitement when we learnt Cardiff were bringing 8 coaches and a footy special. The organisation at Upton Park was ridiculous sometimes. You'd think that the old Bill would wait until all the coaches arrived and then escort them all together to the ground. Not always. Sometimes they would escort individual coaches to the ground with 3 copper escorts. This was like a gift for us boys. We would wait around the Berlin and attack once they appeared. Most of the away fans had had enough just from that attack. Sometimes the boys waiting at the South Bank entrance didn't have to do anything, nor those waiting inside or in the chicken run. Cardiff's first coach load legged it, the next the same, until the old Bill cottoned on and kept the last 4 coaches all together for a bigger escort with more police. It's harder to attack when there's more police, obviously, so these lot were attacked, but did manage to get to the ground. I didn't see what happened outside the South Bank, but I'm told they received a warm East End welcome. Once I got inside the South Bank, Cardiff had managed to reform, and they had a tidy little firm that had a go back. I mean, they were always on the back foot because we ran them ragged, and when the boys attacked from the chicken run, I thought they might leg it. Some did, but about 200 didn't, and were still there at the end. After the match, we ran them back to their coaches after we attacked them with our stash of weapons. I would say they were game, but totally outclassed. Maybe 5 out of 10. Not the worst we saw that season, but certainly not the best. I was expecting more, as I had heard good things about them, but that was mainly at Ninian Park. West Ham was not for the faint-hearted or for inferior firms. Every single firm that turned up at Upton Park that season got battered, Millwall and Newcastle included. Millwall probably won't admit it, but the rest will. What's the point of denying it anyway? All happened so long ago with different dynamics and all that, there's no shame in it. We always say when we got done, not very often, but it did happen, especially in the early 70s at places like Liverpool, Everton, Leeds and Newcastle. Horrible places to go when there were only 500 of us against their 10,000 hooligans, etc. Anyway, that's my story of Cardiff and Upton Park back in 1979. We thank Rhys and Liam for their recollections. It's clear that Cardiff had a tough day out at Upton Park. But let's be honest, who didn't? I think it's on par with Millwall's The Den as being the most hostile in the country. Then again, many grounds could be overwhelming on a bad day. Liverpool, Man United and Everton had fearsome reputations back then. Newcastle and Sunderland, Leeds, Chelsea and Birmingham. All places you wouldn't want to visit back in the 70s. In fact, I could probably name another 20 grounds where you would be in serious danger on a bad day. What do you think? Leave comments on your thoughts. Also, like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, as it really helps our channel grow to give you bigger, better content.